Well, once again, I invite you to listen to our Ask Chuck webcast every week that we're in session. We're going to be in session about 4 weeks now before another recess that we're able to be home in our state. I want to thank you for participating. We invite your questions by Facebook, by email, or Twitter, and we thank you for doing that. I'm going to immediately go to questions because you know I answer generally 2 questions via video, and then other questions that have been sent to me I will answer in writing. Bud from Clive tweets, quote, "Forget the ethanol and tax fixes, just drill." Well, I'm in complete agreement with 1/2 of your statement. I believe that we ought to drill here and drill now. There's really no point of spending $730 million every day to import oil when we can use our great resources here. So the House passed some bills last year to speed up permitting for drilling, and if those bills come to the United States Senate, I assume that they'll be in a form that I will be able to vote for them. At least I surely support the principle behind those pieces of legislation. Drilling offshore, drilling onshore, drilling in Alaska, putting a pipeline from Canada down to Houston so we can make better, more efficient use of the oil from Canada. I think these and other things all need to be done. But what I don't agree with you, Bud, is to forget about tax incentives for alternative energy like we have tax incentives for oil. I believe we need a 4-part program: drill here, drill now, all sorts of alternative energy, conservation, and nuclear. Thank you very much, Bud, for your question, and I hope drilling here and drilling now and pay less is a hallmark of the Republican energy program for this coming year. It ought to be, with the price of gasoline at $4 and looks like it's going to stay there for a while. Jacob from Cedar Rapids tweets, "Have you seen Bin Laden's pictures? Should hold the administration accountable and prove death with visual evidence, pre-burial pictures even." I agree with you, and I have made public statement last week that the pictures ought to be made public. I believe it would lend credibility to the whole story that's been put out. A true story, I believe. I believe there's ample evidence of his death, even Al-Qaeda over the weekend admitting to the death. But for those who are somewhat conspiratorial in their approach, this would be the final proof. And I believe it would be a good thing to do. Thank you very much for your questions. Next week we'll have Ask Chuck, and we ask you to email, Facebook, and tweet in your questions at that particular time. I usually close by telling you what's going on in the United States Senate. So far, Leader Reid has not scheduled a specific piece of legislation for this week. I assume he will by tomorrow. This week we're going to have votes on nominations, particularly for judges and other Justice Department officials. And then we're also going to start work in the Senate Budget Committee, of which I've been a 30-year member of the Budget Committee, to hopefully adopt a budget for this year. Because, you know, last year was the first time since the budget law was put into effect in 1974 that a budget has not been adopted. It's about time we do our work, because the budget is a discipline on spending decisions made by the various committees of Congress. It's a very important document to have. I ask you to thank you very much for calling your questions, and talk to you next week on Ask Chuck webcast. Thank you.